being emotionally healthy is critical to everyday life. Have you ever asked yourself that question? Are you emotionally healthy? Because there's a lot of people walking around here, me being one of them, that are very emotionally damaged. I deal on a daily basis with depression, self-pity, discouragement, and I am trying like hell to deal with this on life's terms. And with all of this happening, it's so rough, just everything, I have recently moved out to Arizona because I needed a new start. I know they say that the geographic move is just not the cure when you are in addiction, and it's not for some people, but if you want drugs, you're going to get them. It doesn't matter where you go. So I get the whole relocating thing, but for me, I would have to go out and I would have to look for them, and the list goes on. For me, this is kind of a insurance or like a safety net, that I'm okay if I fall, there's still that, layer protecting me. And so moving out here, it was a new start, didn't know anybody, my husband came with me, and it's just starting over. We sold our business, we got rid of our businesses, we sold everything that we had for them, and then we just came out here with absolutely nothing, just our clothes and our suitcase. And we ended up getting jobs, it maybe took us about 2 months till we was able to get into an apartment, because it's super, super hard right now to get into an apartment, and it's so expensive, especially out here. You gotta make 2 times the amount your rent is in order to even try to get into a place. So we had that against us. So, and we got into the apartment and everything was going fine, and we're almost to the point where, we have an extra grand in the bank. And when you're at that point, you're like, okay, I feel good about this. Well, and then, a family member passed in his family and he needed to go home. So, that was kind of our extra money that we had. And so, now it's starting over. And he had recently lost his job and he, flew back home. So, it's just, now, it's just still in there, I'm not comfortable with it. We're just struggling to get by, and we're struggling, just grasping on anything we can to, just be above water, and it just sucks. But in all of that going on, I'm still trying to have a healthy marriage, but doing all of this while not using drugs, because that's what I've always depended on. Every time something bad would happen, that was my go-to, and that shit's hard, especially when that's the only way that you ever learn to deal with it. I don't know how normal people do it. I'm wounded so much from my past that I have holes for days, of all of the hurt and the pain that I've dealt with. And I don't know, and for my marriage, I felt like I couldn't talk to him, and we would argue about everything, and then come to find out, I'm just scared that he will reject me. And, the Bible says God will guide you into all truth. Let me tell you something, it's not going to help you to know the truth about someone else. He wants to reveal the truth to you about you. And I worry too much about what other people are doing or not doing, and I just need to open my own life up to God and say, deal with me, and I'll pray for everyone else. Does anyone else do that? Because I need help with that so much, and that's exactly what we do. Instead of trying to get to our own problems, we blame everything else that don't go right on everyone else. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like we all do that. For me, my trauma dealing with things, I have recently found this workshop that has changed my life dramatically. It's called CompassionCity.org. You can check it out if you want. But it teaches you to go back into your memories that you have had in your past that have traumatized you. And they teach you to go into those memories and heal them the right way instead of just trying to cover up things on top of them, or in my case, doing drugs so I don't have to feel the pain. And so, these two 30-year-old men raped me when I was 16, and I was able to go back to that time and take these two men, and I was able to sit them down and tell them exactly how they made me feel, what they did to me, and that I forgave them for what they did. And God was just emotionally breathtaking, It's just been something that's needed to be done so I can move on for so long. And I know all of us out there, we are traumatized people, and it doesn't even have to be living in a bad home and mom and dad fighting, it could be as simple as you maybe, John Sheldon, when he is the maker of all this, one of his traumas was he was in school, he was writing, they were practicing cursive, and he had messed up on the line, so when he erased it, he ripped the paper. Well, the teacher was having a bad day and made him sit in the classroom, and while everybody else went to recess and turned the lights off and everybody went out, so he was scared, he's this little boy in his classroom. His teacher just ripped his head off in front of the whole class for ripping his paper for making a mistake. And so, he was lived with this, so, he was able to go back and sit down with his teacher, and the way he healed that memory was his teacher told him that she should have never went to school that day. She had found out that her husband had been having an affair and was leaving her and her children, and she was a wreck, and she kind of took it out on this little boy, and she apologized for it, and that goes with saying, that happens. Things hurt us and we don't know how to handle them, our perspective is everything, and somebody could take out on us something in the hurt that they've been through, and they don't mean to, but we also don't know what everybody is going through either, so our perspective, we're just thinking oh my God, they're dicks, and in all reality, they're just hurting and they never knew how to deal with it. So, and we're just kind of caught in the crossfire of that. So, if you have any kind of trauma, any kind of hurt, I seriously, if you are out in the Phoenix area or in Arizona, period, it's a $75 class, and that $75 class has gave me more education than thousands of dollars worth of therapy. Promise you, hands down. But, I hope you all have a great night. God bless you, and I just want to thank you so much for taking time that you won't get back out of your life for listening to what I have to say. So, God bless you all. I hope you all stay beautiful, stay healthy, and just stay above water because it's so worth it. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Hey there, guys. Tonight, on this episode, we are going to be talking about learning to love ourselves. Accepting ourselves is the key and the pathway to authenticity. And because if we reject ourselves or God's love for us, we will not be free to be who we were meant to be. And it's so freaking awesome to find and to know who we truly are without feeling like we need to apologize for for who you are or who you're finding out that you're becoming. It's so fun not to be pretending to be someone else. I remember the term very well, the whole fake it to make it statement. And I am growing daily. I'm changing. And while I'm changing, I actually get to enjoy myself. Fake it to make it. I faked it a really long time just for the simple fact that I never wanted to get clean. I, like, the first couple times, like the first time I did it for my parents, the second time I did it probably because the people from the courts made me, and then as you do drugs, it spirals out of control and you just get deeper in the system. I finally had CPS at my door, so they were making me get clean for my children. The list goes on and on. And so I was faking it for the longest time. And then finally, in 2015, when my mother made me plan my funeral, it was more of a wake-up call, me seeing it from my loved one's point of view of, picking out my plot, writing my obituary, picking the songs that people are going to listen to remember me, picturing my children looking at me in a coffin, like all these things that I had never even stopped to think about before. And it truly was something that changed my life. But once you start changing for you and know that you don't deserve that life, I know why we're stuck in it. We feel like we do, from all the wrong that we do, all the mistakes that we do, all the people that we hurt, the lies we tell, the laws we break. Like, it's just constant sorrow. It's constant manipulation. It's constant hell that we're living in. We are the devil's advocate. Absolutely. I was married to this demonized monster for 16 years, all the whole time my son's been born, because I became addicted to them damn pills that they gave me when I gave birth to him, and they changed me, and I became a monster. 4 years after that, I found heroin, and it was like, anything that ever mattered never mattered as much as heroin did. And that's ridiculous that a chemical can have that so much power over the human beings that you brought into this freaking world. All I ever wanted to be was a mom, and here I am, and choosing a needle, and choosing to be in a bathroom, and choosing to go do this and do that for money just so I can get my fix. I don't care if they were hungry. I didn't care if they needed diapers. I knew that my mom would have my back and buy them. And that is the sad part, because I manipulated them so much. All I needed to know is exactly what I needed to say in order to get them to give me whatever it was I needed. Crazy. But when it comes to enjoying yourself, being hard to satisfy and loving other people, finding faults within myself, that was something that I was super, super good at. I just felt like I was never good at anything. I was never going to amount to anything. And that's crazy, because that was never me. When I was in school, I was popular. I was a cheerleader. I was Keith Robinson's little sister. I don't know. It was a big deal to me, because I had confidence, and nothing could ever take me down. And then all of a sudden, this chemical just made me a complete monster. And I wanted everybody around me to feel what I was feeling. I wanted everybody else around me to be miserable like I was, and that's just no way to live whatsoever. So I guess when it comes to loving who we want to be, it's hard when we have so much numbness and so much pain and so much stuff just deep down that is just making our core evil. So until we get that trauma or that stuff taken care of that we've never dealt with, I don't ever think that anybody will be able to move past that. Some of them may. People, I'm sure, have. But there's always going to be that hole inside them that needs fixed. And until we realize what that hole is, we're going to stay sick. You know, I don't know. Secrets make us sick, right? For a reason. Talking about it, I'm definitely not good at that. Guilt is a big one for me. You know, if you have problems, they're just going to keep hurting you until you have the courage to finally deal with them. I mean, how many of you have attitude problems because of something that has happened in your life? And you've just carried it all this time. And you're always like, no one will ever talk to me like that again, or no one will ever get close enough to me to do that again. You know, you block them. And all because of a situation that happened when you were younger and you didn't know how to deal with it. Like, maybe like being with a control freak. Maybe a narcissist, I should say. You know, and a narcissist that's an alcoholic. You know, all my walls went up every time after. Like, you best believe it. And then when I think back about it, it's good. It could have been that they're trying to protect themselves from being hurt again. And if they worked at it hard enough, then no one would ever take advantage of them like that again. You know, and that's how I thought of it. And that's what made that person controlling and a narcissist, you know? Like, who would have thought of that? I've said this before, hurting people hurt people, but it doesn't mean that you can't pray for them. You know, church is a hospital for really messed up people, for really broken people. And if we keep pretending that, then nothing will help you. Like, we need leaders that are wounded still, you know? And when I try to be a leader, I am doing it because God has done it for me. I've made it out of addiction so many times that I have to try to help other people that are struggling with something, because I am almost an expert at doing it. You know, that's why we've been through the struggles that we've been through. You know, they didn't happen to me for no reason. They happened to me because I'm still here to be able to talk about it. So someone else like that is going through the exact same thing, that some kind of comfort knowing that they're not alone can maybe help save that life. You know, all I'm trying to do is feed people what's already been put on my plate, and that God hasn't, that's just because God's fed me first, and He's working through me, and I honestly have to honor that. So I'm trying my best to become an influencer and someone that he can be proud of, and that people will want to watch and follow because of the things that I say or the things that I do, because I've been there and I've done it. So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go, but thank you so much for listening to this. Please share it. Please, you know, let people know that they're not alone, and that you're so much more capable of so much more things if you just put as much effort as you can into it. Have a great night. God bless you all, and thank you so much for watching.